You can have the perfect entry, the perfect setup, the perfect strategy, and destroy everything with the wrong position size. Two traders sit down at the same desk, looking at the same chart, running the same system. Trader A risks 1%. The trade goes against them, the stop gets hit, they feel a small sting, close the platform, and go about their day. Trader B risks 4% on the exact same entry. Something completely different happens. Their heart rate jumps, their breathing gets shallow, they start calculating worst-case scenarios before the candle even closes. By the time the stop is near, they've already moved it once, hoping for a bounce that never comes. Same strategy, same entry point, but completely different outcomes. The only variable was position size. By the end of this video, you'll understand why sizing is not a math problem. The right answer lives in your nervous system, not in a spreadsheet. Here's what most trading education gets completely wrong about position sizing. They treat it like a math problem. Risk 1% per trade, risk 2% per trade, use the Kelly criterion, and all of those frameworks make sense on paper. But they ignore the single most important variable, which is your body's response to the dollar amount at risk. Your nervous system doesn't process percentages. It processes dollar amounts and physical sensation. 1% of a $50,000 account is $500. 1% of a $500,000 account is $5,000. The percentage is identical. But if $5,000 triggers a stress response in your body and $500 doesn't, the same percentage produces completely different psychological states. No formula accounts for this. No spreadsheet measures it. The only instrument that detects whether your size is correct is your own nervous system. Most traders have never learned to read it. Mark Douglas wrote something in Trading in the Zone that most people read and immediately forget. He said the best traders think in probabilities, and the prerequisite for that is the outcome of any single trade cannot matter too much. That last part is the key. Cannot matter too much. When a loss threatens your rent, your confidence, your identity as a trader, or even just your sleep that night, it matters too much. And when it matters too much, your brain exits probability mode and enters survival mode. In survival mode, you can't follow rules. You can't honor stops. You can't let winners run, because your nervous system has reclassified the situation from a calculated risk to a personal threat. Every rule you've ever written in your trading plan was written from a calm, rational state. But those rules have to be executed under pressure. And the amount of pressure you experience is directly determined by your position size. Douglas wasn't just talking about mindset. He was talking about the conditions that make mindset possible. Let me give you a practical diagnostic that reveals whether your position size is right. It's called the sleep test, and it's brutally simple. If you're lying awake at night running worst-case math in your head, your position is too large. If you close your laptop, check your open positions before bed, and fall asleep without replaying the trade, your size is probably right. This sounds too simple to be useful, but it's one of the most honest signals available to you. Your conscious mind is excellent at rationalizing. You can convince yourself that 4% risk is fine because your backtest supports it. Your expected value is positive. Professional traders risk more than that, but your body doesn't negotiate. When the lights go out and there's nothing to distract you, whatever your nervous system actually thinks shows up: insomnia, anxiety, mental math you can't turn off. Drop a comment if you've ever lost sleep over an open trade, because that's your body telling you something your spreadsheet never will. Now, let's talk about what happens inside your brain when position size crosses your personal threshold. There are two distinct mental states, and every trader switches between them depending on how much is at risk. The first is execution mindset. You see the trade as one data point in a long series. The outcome doesn't define you. Your job is to follow the process and let probability play out. You honor your stop without hesitation because the loss is manageable and the next setup is already on your radar. The second, the survival mindset. This trade is no longer one of many, it's the trade. Your brain has flagged the potential loss as a genuine threat. Tunnel vision, rapid breathing, inability to think past the next candle. In survival mindset, you move stops, exit early, add to losers, revenge trade, all of the destructive behaviors that traders swear they'll never repeat. The switch between these two states is not triggered by market conditions. It's triggered by how much money is at risk relative to your personal threshold. Your nervous system doesn't read spreadsheets. It reads dollar signs and body sensations. And here's what makes this so tricky. Your threshold is completely personal. A $500 loss might feel like nothing to one trader and trigger a full stress response in another. Neither trader is wrong, neither is weak. They simply have different nervous systems with different calibration points, shaped by different life experiences, different financial situations, and different relationships with money. A trader who grew up where money was scarce will have a lower threshold than a trader who grew up with financial security. A trader going through a divorce will have a lower threshold than a trader whose life is stable. A trader who just had a big winning month will temporarily tolerate more than a trader coming off a drawdown. If this is hitting home for you, hit that like button. This is why universal position sizing rules are fundamentally incomplete. 2% risk means something completely different to your body than it means to mine. The percentage is the same. The psychological experience is not even close. Here's a scenario that will sound familiar to many of you. You start trading with a small account, say $10,000. You risk 1%, which is $100 per trade. At this level, losses feel like tuition. You follow your plan perfectly, honor every stop, let winners run. Your results are excellent, so you size up. Now you're risking $300 per trade. Still manageable. Your execution stays clean. You size up again, $500 per trade, and something shifts. You notice that you're checking the chart more often, that you're a little tighter in the chest. When a trade goes against you, you stop, discipline starts slipping, just slightly. You hold a little longer, hoping. Then you size up to 1,000 per trade, and the wheels come off. You're making the same trades on the same setups, but your behavior has completely changed. You went from a disciplined executor to an anxious reactor, and the only thing that changed was the number of dollars at risk. The strategy didn't degrade. Your capacity to execute it did. So how do you find the right size? Not through a formula, through a signal your body gives you, and that signal is boredom. When your current size feels boring, when a loss barely registers and you move to the next trade without drama, your nervous system has adapted. Boredom means the dollar amount has been normalized. The loss no longer triggers a stress response. Your execution stays clean because nothing feels threatening. This is your graduation signal. When you feel genuinely bored at your current size, increase by a small increment, 10%, maybe 20%. Then stay at that new level until it also feels boring. The mistake most traders make is sizing up when they feel excited. They have a winning streak, confidence is high, and they jump to a much larger position. Excitement about size is the opposite of the signal you want. It means your nervous system is activated, which means you're closer to survival mode than execution mode. Boredom is the goal. Excitement is the warning. There's an aspect of position sizing that almost nobody discusses. Your threshold is not fixed. It moves based on what's happening in the rest of your life. A trader going through a divorce, a job change, or a stretch of poor sleep has a lower threshold than during stable times. The stress your body carries from life reduces the capacity available for trading stress. Think of your nervous system as a container with a fixed volume. When life stress fills most of that container, there's very little room left before trading stress overflows into survival mode. This is why some of your worst trading stretches correlate with difficult periods in your personal life. The market didn't get harder. Your container got smaller while your position size stayed the same. The practical application requires self-awareness. During high-stress life periods, size down proactively. Don't wait for bad trades to tell you something is wrong. Adjust before the damage is done. This connects directly to the William O'Neill methodology this channel follows. O'Neill taught that when distribution days stack up and leading stocks break down, the first response is to cut exposure, not after stops are tested, not after the drawdown accumulates. Before. That's proactive risk management, and position sizing is the primary lever. When the market deteriorates, reducing size is not fear. It's the discipline of a trader who understands that capital preservation comes before capital appreciation. You can always re-enter when conditions improve. A follow-through day, that massive rally on heavy volume confirming buyers have returned, that's your signal to re-engage. Until that signal appears, smaller size protects both your account and your psychology. Here's what most traders miss about sizing down in weak markets. It's not just about protecting dollars. It's about protecting your nervous system's capacity to execute properly when the next opportunity arrives. If you take a large drawdown because you refuse to size down, you won't just have less capital. You'll have a traumatized nervous system that flinches at every entry for months. Let me give you a framework that ties everything together. Before you place any trade, ask yourself 3 questions. First, can I sleep tonight if this hits my stop? If the answer is no, reduce size until the answer is yes. Second, am I sizing based on my body's response or on a formula that ignores my body? If 2% of your current account keeps you awake, the formula is wrong for you right now. Third, what's my life stress level today? If anything outside trading is consuming mental energy, acknowledge it and adjust size accordingly. These 3 questions take 15 seconds, and they accomplish something no backtesting or risk calculator can give you. They calibrate your position to the actual capacity of your nervous system in this moment, not yesterday's capacity. Not the capacity you wish you had, the real capacity you have today, with everything else happening in your life. If you're finding value in this, consider subscribing for more trading psychology that actually changes how you trade. There's one more piece that separates traders who understand sizing intellectually from those who actually use it. You have to accept that the right position size will feel too small. Every ambitious trader has an internal voice that says you're leaving money on the table. That voice tells you to size up after a winning streak, to be bolder, because timid traders don't make real money. It sounds like confidence, but it's the beginning of the sequence that leads to survival mode. Size driven by ego always ends in the same place. The right position size is the one that lets you follow your rules, not the size that maximizes theoretical profit. Not the size that impresses other traders. The size that preserves your ability to execute with discipline over hundreds of trades. Your edge compounds over hundreds of trades, and it can only compound if you're psychologically capable of executing every single one according to your plan. We started with 2 traders looking at the same chart, running the same system, taking the same entry. One walked away with a small sting and a clear mind. The other spiraled into survival mode and broke every rule. The difference was never the strategy. It was the dollars at risk and how their nervous system responded. Position sizing is not a math problem. It's a calibration between financial risk and psychological capacity to handle that risk without losing the ability to think clearly. Use the sleep test. Watch for the boredom signal. Ask the 3 questions before every trade. When life gets heavier, have the discipline to get smaller. The traders who last aren't the ones who take the biggest positions. They're the ones who found the size that let them follow their rules every day in every market condition for years. That consistency is the real edge. It starts with sizing your risk to match your nervous system, not your ego. Share this with a trader who needs to hear it.